Shalom, my friends. Welcome to this week's word study. Today, we're going to be talking about the mystery of the Netchatef, and that is primarily focusing on 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 51 and 52. But before I begin, I want to make one thing very clear, and that is this bit about the last trumpet seen in verse 52. When verse 52 talks about the last trumpet, it is not talking about the seventh or last trumpet seen in the book of Revelation, as those who like to believe in a mid or post-tribulation rapture will tell you. Verse 52 reads, "In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the sound of the last trumpet call, the dead in Mashiach will be raised imperishable, and we shall be changed." Again, this last trumpet in verse 52 is not referring to the seventh or the last trumpet found in the book of Revelation. First of all, the book of Revelation was written some 30 or 40 years after 1 Corinthians was penned. No one was aware of the book of Revelation yet, so it wouldn't be used by the Ruach or by Shaul, Paul, as a reference to anything. Secondly, and more importantly, the trumpets in Revelation are blown by angels. And this last trumpet in 1 Corinthians is the trumpet of Elohim, not the trumpet of an angel. And that point is made perfectly clear in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 16, where we read, "The Adon himself, Yeshua, will come down from the Shamayim with a loud cry of summons, with the shout of an archangel, and with the blast of the trumpet of Elohim." Not the trumpet of an angel. So, this last trumpet of 1 Corinthians 15 is speaking of a trumpet blast which is called the Takiya Hagadolah. That is, the last and the 100th trumpet blast of Yahuah's Moed, known as Yom Teruah. Yom Teruah means the day of trumpets, or the day of shouting. And I believe it is his Kodesh appointment for the Netchatef, the rapture. This last trumpet blast, the Takiya Hagadolah, is also mentioned in Exodus chapter 19, verse 19. You can check that out for yourself. Okay, now let's look at the whole passage. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 51 and 52. "Take notice, I tell you a mystery." We're going to look at that word. "A secret truth, an event decreed by the hidden purpose and counsel of Elohim. We shall not all experience a physical death, but we shall all be changed or transformed." We're going to look at that word too. "In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the sound of the last trumpet call, the Takiya Hagadolah. For a trumpet will sound, and the dead in Mashiach will be raised imperishable, free and immune from decay, and we shall be changed, transformed." Let's look at the word we see as mystery. I tell you a mystery, a secret truth, an event decreed by the hidden purpose and counsel of Elohim. The word we see there or we see in English as mystery, in the Aramaic is araza'ah. Araza'ah. It is spelled Aleph, Resh, Zayin, key ot there. Aleph. Aleph, Resh, Zayin, Aleph. Aleph, picture of an ox head. Has to do with Abba, Father, and it has to do with being yoked to and taught by him. Then we have Resh, picture of a man's head. It has to do with who your headship is and what your thoughts, who your thoughts are on. Zayin, picture of a plowing or digging tool. It has to do with spiritual man living the Torah, the Father's loving instructions to his children. It has to do with digging into the Word. It has to do with being fruitful. And it has to do with remembering Shabbat. And then again we have Aleph, picture of the ox head, Abba, Father, being yoked to and taught by him. So, this mystery, this araza'ah, is something that was previously hidden but now is being revealed to those who are yoked to and taught by Abba, Father, Yahuwah, those whose thoughts are always on him. It's something that is revealed to them by their digging into his word in the Ruach, bringing them the fruit of his word. Now, let's look at the word we see as changed or transformed. We shall not all experience a physical death, but we shall all be changed or transformed. The dead in Mashiach will be raised, imperishable, free and immune from decay. And we shall be changed. We shall be transformed. And where we see the English word changed or transformed, the original Aramaic word there is batechlaf. Batechlaf. That's spelled Beit, Tau, Chet, Lamed, Pei. Beit, picture of a house, has to do with Yeshua. And it has to do with family. Tau, picture of crossed sticks. Not the picture of a cross, but the picture of crossed sticks. It's Yahweh's signature, his mark, and it has to do with a monument in time. Then we have Chet, picture of a fence. It divides and protects. Chet specifically has to do with the Netchatef and with the operation of the spiritual gifts, the gifts of the Ruach. Then we have Lamed, picture of a staff. It protects and steers his sheep. Has to do with being yoked to Yeshua and being his disciple or his Talmidim. And then finally we have Pei, picture of a mouth, to speak, to blow. And it has to do with being at the edge of something. So, to be changed, to be transformed, to be batechlaf, means to be of those who are of the house and the family of Yeshua, those who have the Father's signature, his mark on them, those who will be a monument to Elohim forever, those who have been separated from the world, those who will be kidnapped, Netchatef, out of the world and given complete and full operation of the gifts of the Ruach. It speaks of those who are yoked to Yeshua and those who are his talmidim. He will blow on them as he breathed on his talmidim in John chapter 20, verse 22, when he breathed on them and said, receive the Ruach HaKodesh. And they will be taken out of the world at the very edge of time, just before the tribulation and the day of Elohim's wrath is delivered on the world. 1 John chapter 3 verse 2 reads, Beloved, we are even here and now Elohim's children, but it is not yet revealed. It has not yet been made known what we shall be. However, we know that when he comes and is manifested, we shall, as Elohim's children, B'nai Elohim, resemble and be like him, for we shall see him just as he really is. So, when we think about the Netchatef, commonly called the rapture, if you're not fully versed on this subject in the Word, go to my channel, youtube.com/watchalan, and click on the tab that says Playlists. And in there you'll see I have a playlist that covers the rapture, the harpazo in Greek, and in the Aramaic, the Netchatef. There's more than a couple of dozen videos there. I cover every aspect of this subject in the Word that you could possibly bring up. So if you haven't done so and you want to know the fullness of the Word, what the Word reveals about this subject, go and watch my playlist. But here in 1 Corinthians, we see that the Ruach was revealing, where we see the word mystery, something that up until that point in time was hidden and is now being revealed. And that we will be changed and transformed in the twinkling of an eye at the Netchatef. So, and then, we look at the odiot and we can meditate on the original Aramaic words for what we see as mystery, for what we see as changed or transformed, and get a better idea. Although, again, as we just saw in 1 John chapter 3, what we will be has not yet been revealed. The angels haven't got a clue. No one has a clue except for the Father, Yahuwah, his beloved Bain, Yeshua, and of course, his Ruach HaKodesh, his Spirit. It's going to be an indescribable thing to witness because he's keeping it secret. He's not revealing it to anyone. It's something very special. And as I've said before, the angels, that is the Malachim, they watch the true believers trying to figure out what the Father is doing, because he's going to make certain ones who are pitching their tent with him, he's going to make those one with him and his Bain Yeshua and his Ruach HaKodesh. The angels don't understand that. And that's why it says in 1 John, what we will be, the B'nai Elohim, has not yet been revealed. Now, Adam and Eve were B'nai Elohim before the fall. And no one on this earth has a clue what they looked like, what they were like, what the earth was like before the flood even. But Adam and Eve, they were B'nai Elohim, created in the image and the likeness of Elohim. No one really knows what that means, and I could do a whole study on that. Perhaps one day we will. But this is what the Father's been doing for 6,000 years. He created man and woman and the earth and environment where there is good and there is evil, so that he can see who loves him more than the world or the things of the world, so that he can find those who he is going to change and transform into B'nai Elohim, into his own image and likeness. These are going to be very, very special throughout all of eternity. That's our study for this week, my friends. As always, I hope and I pray that this study is a beracha to you and to yours. And Abba willing, I'll see you here again next week. Until then, shalom, my friends.
Now 2,000 years have gone by, it's another working day. Some would rather let it lie, but the question still remains. You say